Have you ever noticed that certain relationships are so chaotic that it feels like you're watching a Netflix drama that never ends? It was indeed Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez performing that song. At first, their love story was charming, but messy doesn't even come close to describing how it turned out. Between the years 2009 and 2018, they went through an uncountable number of both breakups and reconciliations. At each and every moment when individuals believed they had completed their tasks, they suddenly reappeared, holding hands or leaving a mysterious caption on Instagram. In order to ensure that you do not miss any of the stories that we are about to reveal, it is imperative that you click the like button, subscribe to our channel, and activate the notification bell before we proceed with all of the drama and healing tea, simply because this one has multiple layers. Due to the fact that even now, after a number of years have passed and Justin is married to Hailey, people still can't stop talking about Selena. In his mind, it seems as though that chapter was never truly finished. On the other hand, Selena is living an entirely different era at this point. Let's go back in time for a moment because their timeline is completely insane. In 2009, when they were just two adorable teenagers in the spotlight, they had their first encounter there. They had become the most popular young couple in Hollywood by the year 2011, but by the year 2012, cracks had already begun to appear. Their busy schedules were the reason. To tell you the truth, the tension was very real. The next thing they knew, they were on a ski trip together and fans were wondering, so are they back or not? The next thing they knew, they were breaking up. On a fundamental level, that was the story of Selena. A love that was befuddled and unable to decide whether it wanted to live or to destroy itself. However, by the year 2018, it had finally come to an end, this time for good. To add insult to injury, just a few weeks after the conclusion of their relationship, Justin Baldwin was seen with Hailey Baldwin. The speed at which that move was executed was incredible. It was impossible for fans to ignore the fact that Selena was still processing the information while Justin appeared to be rushing into something new. When Selena finally opened up about everything, that was the moment when the truth hit her like a ton of bricks. She acknowledged that she had been subjected to emotional abuse in that relationship during an interview with National Public Radio, something that left her feeling broken, but didn't leave her feeling defeated. She chose to transform her suffering into a source of strength rather than be a victim. After that, her masterpiece, titled "Lose You to Love Me," was released. The lyrics were extremely raw, honest, and painful. They were essentially her diary. I was aware of the warnings, but I chose to disregard them. All of the rose-colored glasses were out of line. Each and every line struck a chord. There was more to that song than just a breakup anthem. It served as her release. Selena's voice could be heard saying, "I'm done crying over you," in the background. However, people had no idea that this was only the beginning of her true transformation during that time. Do you remember how everyone believed that we would never truly discover Justin's point of view on the matter? It came as a surprise to find out that some of the answers came directly from him. In an interview that he gave to Zane Lowe for Apple Music, Justin basically admitted what everyone had already suspected. When he was with Selena, he was a complete and utter disorder. It was he who mentioned it. He was impulsive, he was disoriented, and he was very much not prepared for the kind of love that she was giving him. In addition, it took him years to finally find the peace of mind to even consider the possibility of getting married. The comments that Selena made about emotional abuse were not exactly met with a response from him. However, let's face it, he didn't have to do that. In a way, his words were able to speak for themselves. Justin poured his heart out in one of his emotional posts on Instagram, admitting that he had turned to substances, that he had been angry, disrespectful, and emotionally distant at the time, and that he had turned to substances. It was the first time that he had truly admitted to himself how broken he was on the inside. In addition, it was even more devastating when he stated that it took him years to unlearn all of that toxic behavior and to figure out how to even have a healthy relationship. Because of his fame, the pressure, and the chaos that came with growing up in the spotlight, he suffered damage. All of this bled into the manner in which he dealt with the people who were closest to him, particularly Selena. During that very same conversation, he even brought up Billie Eilish, stating that he is concerned about her because he does not want her to experience the same things that he did. After that, however, Justin made an effort to incorporate everything into his music, as he always does. The album Changes was the equivalent of a public journal. In the song All Around Me, he sings about how prior to meeting Hailey, he never considered the possibility of being loyal. Forever is where he admits that he never thought he would be able to find a permanent partner. Now, when you compare that to the music that Selena has released, the contrast is absolutely wild. During the time that he was singing about how he had finally established love after her, she was dropping out. Take a look at her now, confidently pointing out to everyone that her first true love moved on in a short amount of time. However, she emerged more powerful in the film People You Know. She is not one to mince words. The fact that she sings about all those nights that were wasted makes it abundantly clear that she is romanticizing the past. In the meantime, Justin, who appears in the film That's What Love Is, asserts that he had no idea what love even meant until Hailey entered his life. It's almost as if they were both telling their perspective on the same event, with the exception that one of them was still attempting to find peace while the other had already found it. The fact that Selena deleted her very last post about Justin, which was from March 2018 when the two of them were still together, is further evidence that she was serious about moving on with her life. Just gone with no major drama or announcement to be found, the silent deletion conveyed more information than any statement could have. One thing has been made abundantly clear by Selena, despite the fact that Justin continues to occasionally revisit the past in interviews and lyrics, this chapter has come to an end. But let me tell you something, Justin was not the only person she moved on from. As a result of him, she transitioned. In all honesty, it seemed as though Selena vanished for a period of time after everything that occurred with Justin, but not in a negative way. A hush fell over her. She was able to recover, she gathered her thoughts, she returned, but she was not the same person she had been before. It is incredible to think that the girl who was caught up in that on and off whirlwind with Justin Bieber for almost a decade of her life has finally made the decision to prioritize her own needs. From 2009 until 2018, they were the most popular love story on the internet and the most heartbreaking story on the internet before it finally turned into self-love. It was puppy love, then real love, then toxic love, and finally it was self-love. On the other hand, let's face it, Justin wasn't the only man in Selena's personal history. She made headlines with her fair share of romantic chapters throughout her life. Additionally, Nick Jonas was present during her time at Disney. The love of a teenager for a puppy. Then in 2009, Taylor Lerner emerged, but her relationship did not last long because, as far as it appears, dating a Twilight heartthrob was not enough to compete with the chaos that comes with being young and famous. By 2015, she had been linked with Zedd, and the two of them were working together on the film I Want You to Know. It was believed by her fans that was her comeback love story. Sadly, it was not the case. During the same year, there were rumors that Niall Horan was doing a little fling with Charlie Puth, and later on, those rumors were confirmed. In 2016, we even caught a glimpse of her hanging out with Orlando Bloom and Samuel Cross. On each occasion, individuals vowed that this was the one. Later in 2017, The Weeknd was released. For a brief period of time, it appeared as though Selena had successfully moved on. On the red carpet at the Met Gala, they were official presences. What a cute and cozy combination. But by the time that year came to a close, that flame had also been extinguished. Who was waiting for the next thing to happen? Justin. The brief reunion that took place in 2018 was reminiscent of a previous experience, the love story that just had no intention of ending. This time, however, it did in fact happen. Finally, Selena brought the chapter to a close. In addition, she did not turn around for a moment. She instead channeled all of that anguish, confusion, and heartbreak into her artistic endeavors. There was more to Lose You to Love Me than just a song. It felt like a full-fledged therapy session that was wrapped in music. That line, "I needed to lose you in order to love me," transformed into her mantra for healing. It was as if she had finally found her inner calm after that. Rare Beauty was launched. She began openly discussing mental health. She released her documentary titled My Mind and Me, and she demonstrated to the world that she was not defined by the people she dated, but rather by how she rose above it all. And despite the fact that she was rumored to have had a few affairs in 2023 with Drew Taggart from the Chainsmokers, Zayn Malik, and yes, Niall made a reappearance, The situation never felt messy or chaotic. Over time, Selena had mastered the art of gracefully moving on. It was no longer her intention to pursue headlines. As she guarded her tranquility, she was fine. By the time she entered into a relationship with Blanco, she had already established that she was not interested in proving anything for anyone, not even Justin. After 10 years of turmoil, it was about experiencing a sense of calm. The real twist, however, is that Selena did not simply get over it. Her appearance was radiant in every conceivable way. To add insult to injury, Selena has been out here working on constructing a life that is finally making sense, while Justin has been caught up in confusion, cryptic posts, and what ifs. The reason for this is that when you have been through the kind of emotional roller coaster that she has been through, peace begins to look like a luxury thing. Selena appeared to be in a state of genuine happiness at her wedding, which took place in Santa Barbara. She was surrounded by people who had witnessed her through every storm, from success on Wizards of Waverly Place to fame on a global scale. I'm not talking about the kind of happiness that comes from discovering that you finally found a place to call home in someone's heart. And just like that, the young lady who had once sung "Lose You to Love Me" had at long last found someone who made her love herself even more. Because when all is said and done, Selena Gomez did not simply move on from her relationship with Justin Bieber. She was able to overcome everything that had previously held her back. She is now living her life in peace, wearing her crown, and demonstrating that genuine happiness can sometimes be the most effective form of retribution. Lancho